"You heard that too, right?" Sam whispered, his voice trembling as the silver corridor hummed beneath his feet. "No," Myra replied softly, her violet eyes narrowing, "but I felt it." A low chime rippled through the air, like distant laughter wrapped in static, and Sam froze because he recognized that sound. He'd heard it last night while dreaming about her. Sam had never intended for anyone to hear the things he muttered in his sleep, especially not an alien princess who could level mountains with a flick of her shimmering hand. And yet here he was, standing beside her in a silent starship hallway, wondering if she already knew. The corridor lights dimmed suddenly, casting long, trembling shadows across the metal floor. Some presence moved behind the walls, like footsteps dragging through a world he couldn't see. A quiet alarm pulsed through the ship, close enough to feel in their bones. They still had minutes, maybe less, before the anomaly returned. Myra stepped ahead of him, her iridescent cloak rippling like liquid dusk. She held herself with the calm, regal poise of someone raised among constellations, but Sam noticed her hands tighten around her staff. Whatever hunted them, tonight wasn't ordinary. And neither was the secret Sam carried. He blinked rapidly, trying to stop the fragments of last night's dream from resurfacing. Soft light, her voice, her laughter, the moment he admitted aloud how breathtaking she was. He hadn't known she heard him. He hoped she hadn't. But the strange shimmer in her gaze earlier. He feared she had. The ship moaned, the metal ribs creaking in a slow-building tremor. Myra turned sharply toward him. "Stay close," she whispered. "If the rift stirs again, it will choose the weaker mind first." Sam swallowed hard. That didn't reassure him at all. They continued forward, their footsteps echoing in steady, nervous rhythm. A smoky blue light pulsed along the walls, illuminating fleeting images, like memories that did not belong to either of them. The rift was bleeding into the ship again, unraveling time around the edges like loose threads. Myra stopped abruptly. "Did you dream again last night?" Sam's heart slammed against his ribs. Not now, not during this. But she was staring at him, waiting. "I don't remember." It was a lie. A terrible one. He remembered every second. Myra exhaled slowly, her expression unreadable. "You spoke my name," she said, softly, as if afraid to lose it. Before Sam could respond, the hallway lights flickered violently. A high-pitched hiss filled the air, like laughter trying to tear itself into existence. Then the temperature dropped, frosting the edges of their breath. The rift was waking up. Myra grabbed his wrist and pulled him forward. "We must reach the central chamber before it fully breaches." Her grip was warm, almost grounding, despite the chaos building around them. But Sam couldn't shake the fear that she didn't trust him anymore. Not with what he'd said, not with what she might have heard. Another shimmer of sound drifted through the corridor. A whisper. A giggle. Mocking. Knowing. Myra's steps quickened. Sam followed, pulse pounding, haunted by the strange truth that he wasn't just afraid of the rift. He was afraid of what Myra thought of him now. Afraid of what he had confessed in sleep. Afraid that she laughed, actually laughed, because she already knew the feelings he'd tried so desperately to hide. The corridor stretched before them like the throat of some waking beast, every tremor counting down to disaster. But as they neared the chamber doors, Sam dared a glance at Myra. Her lips curved barely into a small, mysterious smile. A smile that said she'd heard far more than he ever intended. And she wasn't angry. She was amused. And that terrified him more than the rift ever could. "Myra, wait!" Sam's voice cracked as the chamber doors hissed open, releasing a swirl of shimmering vapor that rushed past them like escaping starlight. But Myra didn't stop. She strode straight into the circular room, her cloak trailing behind her like falling midnight. Sam stumbled after her, pulse pounding, because the central chamber wasn't just humming anymore. It was breathing. The walls, usually smooth and metallic, now pulsed with faint, rippling distortions as if they were thin membranes stretched over something deeper, something alive. A twisting halo of blue-gold light circled the center platform, shimmering like a slow, cosmic heartbeat. Myra lifted her staff, and a thin beam of white energy flickered from its tip. "The rift is tethering itself to us," she murmured. "We're running out of time." A cold flutter crawled down Sam's spine. "Define out of time, please," in very small, non-panicking words. Myra didn't answer immediately. Instead, she stepped onto the platform, every motion deliberate, royal, fearless. Sam followed, though his hands trembled. A screech pierced the air, high, warped, unnatural. Sam flinched and grabbed his ears. The chamber lights dimmed to a foggy twilight, and the glow around the platform flickered violently. "It's listening," Myra whispered. Those two words were enough to freeze him. "What do you mean, listening? Listening to what?" She turned to him, her face half-shadowed, half-haloed by the swirling light. "To us, to our thoughts, to our fears. That is how the rift hunts." Sam's breath stuttered. The memory of last night, his dream, his whispered confession, flooded his mind uninvited. And as if sensing it, the chamber responded. A ripple of violet distortion swept across the walls, mirroring the very emotion he tried to suppress. "No, not now, not this." Myra saw the change immediately. Her gaze snapped to him. "Sam, what are you thinking about?" He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Nothing dangerous," he offered weakly. She stepped closer, so close he could smell the faint, crystalline scent of her aura. "If something is stirring the rift, I need to know." He swallowed hard. "It's just a dream, a stupid one." Her brows lifted gently. "You dreamt of me again, didn't you?" The chamber flared in response, the light trembling like a struck bell. A whisper, faint but unmistakable, fluttered through the air. "His name." Drawn out. Mocking. What? Sam backed up until his shoulder hit the cold railing. "This thing is using my dreams against us." "No," Myra said softly. "It is using your truths." Sam went silent, completely, utterly silent. Because the way she said it, calm, certain, and almost warm, made his heart thud painfully. The floor vibrated beneath them. The rift ring above the platform twisted sharply, its light fragmenting into shards of color. Myra lifted her staff again, her expression shifting from softness to fierce resolve. "We can still stabilize it," she said, "but it will target your mind first. It already marked you." "Marked me?" Sam squeaked. That was not reassuring. She placed her hand on his chest, lightly, briefly, but enough to send a shock of warmth through him. "I will protect you." A deeper tremor shook the chamber, and Sam instinctively grabbed her hand before she could pull away. "Myra, wait, there's something you should know." She looked at their joined hands, then at him. His heart thudded. His throat tightened. He forced the words out. "I'm sorry if I said anything strange in my sleep. I didn't mean to make things awkward. I know you're a princess and I'm just, well, me." For a moment, only the hum of the rift filled the air. Then Myra's lips curved into the smallest, gentlest smile. "Sam," she said, almost laughing, "of all the dangers in this galaxy, your words are not the ones I fear." Another ripple of alien laughter, distant, echoing, swept through the chamber. Myra tightened her grip on his hand. "But right now, it seems the rift disagrees." And as the platform lit up with blinding light, Sam realized something terrifying. The rift wasn't laughing at him. It was laughing because of him. "Don't move," Myra warned, her voice low and steady. But Sam couldn't have moved even if he wanted to. The blinding light around the platform spiraled upward, forming a twisting vortex that swallowed sound, swallowed air, swallowed every ounce of certainty in the room. A deep resonance hummed beneath Sam's ribs, a vibration that felt uncomfortably like someone speaking inside his bones. "What?" The voice was soft, almost playful, and it echoed every vulnerable emotion he tried to bury. He squeezed his eyes shut. "Nope, no, absolutely not. Voices in my bones is where I draw the line." Myra stepped in front of him, her silhouette carved in glowing white as she raised her staff high. "Rift, you will not touch him." The vortex pulsed, and a ring of shimmering fragments began circling Sam like orbiting memories, moments from his life, from his sleep, from last night's dream. One image paused right in front of Myra's face. Sam in dreamlight, whispering her name as though it were a fragile treasure. His eyes flew open. "Myra, don't look at that." Her expression softened, just for a heartbeat. "Sam, you cared that deeply." He felt heat rush to his face. That was private." The rift responded with a rippling burst of sound that resembled laughter. The fragments pulsed brighter, feeding on his embarrassment like it was a feast. Myra lowered her staff slightly, stepping closer to him. Her eyes shimmered with something he didn't expect, tenderness. But the vortex tightened suddenly, shrinking around them like a closing fist. Myra's composure sharpened. "It's accelerating. We have less than 5 minutes before a full breach." Sam's panic spiked. "A full breach of what exactly?" "A doorway," she said grimly, "to every fear you've ever buried." The vortex crackled with electric tension. Sam's throat tightened. "Great, outstanding, wonderful, just what I wanted today, an emotional apocalypse." Myra pointed her staff at the swirling rift core. White light exploded outward, cracking the darkness like lightning. The chamber shook violently, and Sam nearly lost his footing. "What are you doing?" he shouted. "Isolating it," she replied. "If it cannot feed on you, it will collapse." A gust of wind slammed into them, and Sam clung to the railing. The vortex shuddered as Myra forced her energy into it, her cloak whipping violently, her hair shimmering with each strike of light. But then the rift twisted in a new direction, toward Sam. He felt something tug at his chest, not physically, but deeper, pulling at his thoughts, at his doubts, at the moment of longing he'd felt in that dream. A pulse of violet energy wrapped around him, cold as winter's shadow. Myra spun instantly. "Sam!" The force lifted him off the platform, not far, but enough to steal his breath. His limbs felt weightless, his mind foggy, as if someone else were flipping through his memories like pages of a book. Dream Myra. Her laughter, her glow, her hand brushing his whispered confession, raw and unguarded. "Stop," Sam choked out. "Please stop." The rift only tightened its grip. And then Myra leapt. She struck the vortex with her staff, channeling a ribbon of light that lashed across the rift's surface. For a moment, Sam could breathe again. Myra grabbed his arm, pulling him back down with surprising strength. Her face hovered inches from his. Her voice came out breathless, fierce. "You are not alone, Sam. You will not face this alone." He stared at her, shaken. "Myra, why are you doing all this for me?" The vortex shrieked, the sound splitting the chamber like crackling glass. The countdown was speeding up, seconds now, not minutes. Myra pressed her forehead briefly to his, a gesture sacred among her people. "Because," she whispered, "your heart spoke before you did, and I heard it." The rift flared violently. Myra pulled away, eyes blazing with royal fire. "Hold on, Sam. Your truth may have awakened it." She raised her staff again, pointing it directly into the heart of the storm. "But together we will silence it." The chamber erupted in blinding light. The explosion of light faded slowly, leaving behind a trembling silence, too sudden, too empty. Sam blinked through the afterglow, his vision swimming with streaks of white and blue. The platform beneath his feet felt unsteady, as if the ship itself was trying to remember how to exist. "Myra," he whispered. She stood at the center, back straight, staff lowered but glowing faintly. Her breathing was controlled, too controlled. Sam recognized the subtle tremor in her shoulders. She was exhausted. But the rift wasn't gone. A thin crack of violet shimmered above them, barely visible, like a wound refusing to close. Sam's stomach dropped. "It's still open." Myra turned toward him, her expression steady, but her eyes, those soft, luminous violet eyes, held something sharp beneath their calm. "Not fully," she murmured, "but it's fighting harder than I expected." A low pulse rippled through the room, like distant thunder muffled under layers of time. Sam felt it push against his chest, not violently, but insistently, searching for an opening. He backed up. It's looking for me again, isn't it? Myra didn't answer, and that silence was answer enough. Before he could speak again, the crack widened. A faint shimmer poured out like dust made of memories. They drifted toward Sam, swirling around him, tinting the air with scenes he didn't want to see. A younger Sam, sitting alone on a rooftop, whispering to the stars because no one else would listen. A version of him staring at a half-packed suitcase after another failed attempt to start over. A quiet moment when he realized he didn't know where he belonged. The rift was pulling out every loneliness he'd ever carried. Sam clenched his jaw. No, not anymore. Myra stepped closer, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. The rift preys on isolation. It thinks you're easy to divide from yourself. He huffed a shaky laugh. Well, not the worst analysis of me. She squeezed his shoulder gently. But wrong. Her voice dropped to a soft, steady warmth that wrapped around him more securely than the ship's metal walls. You are not alone, not while I stand with you. The memory dust flickered, confused, unsure. Sam felt its pull weaken barely but noticeably. But then the rift hissed sharply, as if offended. The crack tore wider. A wind surged out so strong that Sam stumbled. Myra grabbed him before he could fall, her cloak whipping violently behind her. The ship groaned under the force. Myra, Sam shouted over the rising roar. We need to shut it now. She braced herself, lifting her staff. I need a stable anchor, something it can't twist or break. Sam didn't hesitate. What do I do? She turned to him, quick, decisive, almost urgent. Tell me what you hid. His breath caught. Myra, this is really not the moment. It is, she said sharply. The rift is bound to your unspoken truth. If you voice it freely, it loses its hold. Oh no. No, no, no. This was the one nightmare scenario he had not prepared for, confessing something real in the middle of a disaster. Another blast of energy surged through the chamber. Sam stumbled again. Myra steadied him, but her knees buckled slightly, her strength thinning. He swallowed hard. Myra, if I say it, you have to promise you won't laugh or judge or... I won't, she said softly. I already heard pieces. I only want to hear the rest from you. The rift pulsed violently, pressure mounting like a storm ready to split the sky. Time was slipping. Sam's throat tightened. His heart hammered. He forced himself to speak. I care about you, he said, voice rough. More than I should, more than makes sense, and I'm terrified of what that means. The crack in the air flickered. Sam pushed on, trembling. And last night, when I talked in my sleep, it wasn't an accident. It was the truth I was too scared to say awake. Silence. The rift went still. Myra's eyes glistened, not in shock but in something achingly warm. She lifted her staff and gently pressed her forehead to his again. Then I accept your truth, she whispered. And I return it. The words struck the room like a lightning bolt. The rift screamed. Its crack snapped shut. A burst of violet light detonated outward. And then, silence. Total silence. The rift was gone. And Sam, breathless, stunned, was left staring at the princess whose confession had just saved them both. For a long moment, Sam couldn't move. The air tasted still, unnaturally still, like the starship itself was waiting to see what he'd do next. His pulse thudded in his ears, louder than the fatting echoes of the rift's collapse. Myra stood before him, staff lowered, her calm breaths trembling ever so slightly. She had said it. She had actually said it back. Sam swallowed hard. Did you really mean that? Myra didn't smile, not at first. Instead, she stepped closer, slowly, deliberately, until the soft glow of her aura touched the edges of his shirt. Her hand rose, gentle as starlight brushing against his cheek. Sam, she whispered, her voice steady, truth is sacred to my people. I do not return words I do not hold in my heart. His chest tightened. His thoughts scattered. He felt weightless, stunned, overwhelmed in the best possible way. But the moment didn't stay soft for long. A deep, metallic groan rumbled through the chamber. The lights flickered. The ship, not the rift, was destabilizing. Myra's expression sharpened instantly. She grabbed his wrist. "Come, we're not safe yet." "But I thought, didn't we just close the rift?" "We did," she said, guiding him toward the exit as the floor vibrated beneath them. "But the energy backlash may have struck the ship's core. We must reach the control bridge." Sam stumbled beside her as the hallway walls shuddered and flickered with glitch-like sparks. Right, of course, because one near disaster per day would be too normal. Myra huffed a faint, breathless laugh. A real laugh. Sam nearly tripped at the sound. But the corridor suddenly lurched sideways as gravity faltered. Sam slammed into the wall. Myra, far steadier, caught his arm before he could slide down. Her brow furrowed. The stabilization field is failing. "What does that mean?" Sam asked, trying not to panic. "That the ship may soon tilt into the star orbit we are passing." She paused, then added gently, "Which would be bad." "Very, very bad," Sam muttered. They hurried down the corridor, Myra half supporting him as the ship continued to shiver. Sparks rained from overhead cables, and a distant alarm pulsed like a frantic heartbeat. "Myra," Sam said, breathing hard, "back in the chamber, what you said, before everything went kaboom, was that true even before the rift twisted my dreams around?" She glanced at him mid-stride. "Yes." He blinked. "Oh." Another alarm shrieked overhead. Myra grabbed a railing as the ship pitched sharply downward. Sam collided into her again, and she steadied him with a firm grip around his waist. Their eyes locked. For a split second, the ship, the alarms, the danger, they all faded into background blur. "Sam," she murmured, "I heard you speaking long before you realized you were asleep." Her cheeks warmed faintly. "And your words were not foolish." Sam felt heat climb his own face. "Great, amazing, perfect. I'm glad my subconscious didn't completely humiliate me." "Oh, it did," she said lightly. Sam groaned. Myra smiled. But the hallway ahead darkened abruptly as a power surge rippled through the ship. The doors to the control bridge flickered, sparking, then jammed halfway open. Myra approached them carefully. "I can force the seal, but only once." "Do it," Sam urged. "We need to fix this before we become cosmic toast." Myra planted her staff into the floor. A flash of white energy shot through the metal, and the doors burst open with a crack of light. Inside, the control bridge was chaos. Holographic panels glitched, star maps spun wildly, and the main power core fluctuated between light and shadow. Sam stumbled forward. "Tell me how to help." Myra's voice softened with relief at his readiness. "Take the auxiliary console. Stabilize the orbital vector while I lock the core." "Okay, which one is that?" She pointed. "The only console not on fire." "Right, good, excellent criteria." They moved quickly, Myra channeling pure energy into the core stabilizer, while Sam frantically typed commands, trying desperately to make sense of alien symbols. "Is it working?" Sam asked. "Almost," Myra said, sweat beading at her temple. "Hold the vector steady." The ship lurched again. Sam gripped the console, refusing to let go. Because Myra believed in him. Because she returned his truth. Because he was done running from fear, his or otherwise. The alarms pulse brighter. The ship trembles harder. Myra calls out. Sam, now lock the sequence. He slams his palm onto the panel. A surge of light floods the bridge. The ship jerks, then steadies. Silence. Calm. Stability. Myra lowers her staff, exhaling in relief. Sam turns to her, chest still heaving. "Did we?" "Yes," she whispers. "We did." And for the first time since this nightmare began, Myra's smile wasn't mysterious, or guarded, or fleeting. It was warm, real, hopeful, and it was meant for him. Sam barely had a moment to breathe before the ship's overhead lights flickered back to life, weak, unsteady, but enough to paint Myra's face in a soft silver glow. She stood with her staff lowered, shoulders visibly relaxing for the first time since the rift incident began. Sam leaned against the auxiliary console, catching his breath. "Okay," he panted, "so we survived whatever that was again." Myra stepped toward him, calm but observant. "You handled yourself well," she said, "better than you believe." He let out a shaky laugh. "Then clearly I fooled the galaxy's most powerful princess." "No," she said gently, "you showed your truth, that is power." Before Sam could process that, a sharp chime echoed through the bridge. Not an alarm, something deeper, colder. The starship's scanners activated on their own, casting a thin beam of gold across the room. A projection blinked into view. It wasn't a map. It wasn't a warning. It was something watching them. A silhouette, humanoid but blurred, hovered in the projection, shifting like liquid shadow. It tilted its head slowly as if studying them. Sam froze. "Myra, that's not normal, right?" She stepped protectively in front of him, staff raised. "No, the rift should not have left any imprint behind." The projection flickered, then expanded. A voice, a distorted whisper, dripped through the bridge speakers. "Not finished." Sam's breath hitched. "Oh, come on, how is it still doing creepy whisper things? We closed it." Myra's gaze tightened. "The rift is gone, but something may have looked through before it sealed." The shadow moved, closer, clearer, its outline forming into a shape disturbingly familiar. Sam felt his stomach drop. It looked like him. Not exactly, but close enough that his chest tightened. "Myra." His voice shrank. "That's not me, right?" "No," she said firmly, standing taller. "It is not." The shadow Sam lifted its hand slowly. The motion was distorted, like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. The whispering voice returned, warped and hollow. "Truth opened door." Sam felt the room grow colder. "Is it saying my confession caused this?" "No," Myra said, stepping even closer to him. "Your confession saved us. Whatever this is, it seeks to twist what you faced honestly." The shadow stilled. Then its form changed, fracturing into images, memories, feelings pulled from Sam's mind. Lonely nights, chewed-up hopes, fears he never named. Even the moment he first met Myra, awkward, overwhelmed, certain she saw right through him. His chest tightened painfully. He backed up a step. "Myra, make it stop." She didn't hesitate. She placed both hands on his shoulders, grounding him. "Listen to me," she said softly. "Look at me, not at it." He tried. Her calm eyes held him steady, pulling his focus back from the swirling chaos. "You are not defined by shadows," she whispered. "Not anymore." The shadow shuddered violently at her words. Its form broke apart, then reformed into something jagged, like it was struggling to hold shape. Myra lifted her staff. "Sam, this is important. It can only mimic what you fear. It cannot create anything new." Sam clenched his fists, heartbeat pounding in his ears. "So what do we do?" "We face it," she said. "Together." The shadow recoiled, as if the word itself burned. Myra stepped forward, placing herself between Sam and the projection. Her voice rose, calm but strong. "You do not belong here. You have no claim on him." The shadow hissed, its form splitting into jagged shards of violet. Sam found his courage rising, not from bravery, but from the warmth of Myra's presence beside him. He stepped up next to her. "Yeah," he said, voice steadier than he expected. "You heard her. I'm done being scared of pieces of my past." The projection glitched once, twice, then crackled violently. Myra raised her staff high. Light gathered at its tip, radiant and pure. "Sam," she whispered, "say the truth again." He didn't even hesitate. "I care about Myra," he said firmly, "and I'm not afraid of that anymore." The shadow screamed, then shattered into a burst of pale light, dissolving like dust on wind. Silence reclaimed the bridge. Myra lowered her staff, turning toward him with a look both amazed and quietly proud. "You have grown," she murmured. Sam exhaled shakily. "Please don't say that like I just passed some cosmic final exam." She laughed softly, the sound warm and healing in the quiet room. "Then let me say this instead. You faced your fear and protected more than just yourself." Sam met her gaze, suddenly aware of the steady closeness between them. "Myra," he whispered, "does this mean the danger is finally over?" Her expression softened. "I believe it is beginning to be." But before Sam could ask what that meant, the entire ship shivered, softly, subtly, like something distant had shifted. Myra's smile faded. She turned toward the front window. Outside, the stars were moving. Not drifting, not passing, gathering, as if something enormous was approaching. And Sam felt a new question rising in his chest, one he wasn't sure he wanted answered. The stars outside the bridge window pulled together like threads drawn toward an unseen needle, gathering, swirling, tightening into a spiraling point of light. Sam felt the hairs on his arms rise. Something was coming, something the rift had only hinted at. Myra stepped forward slowly, her cloak brushing the trembling floor. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I had hoped this would not follow." Sam's stomach tightened. That sentence never means anything good. The spiraling light beyond the glass deepened into a funnel, a cosmic whirlpool made of stardust and gravity. It spun silently, but Sam felt its vibration in his bones, not like the rift, not invasive, but ancient, observing. "Myra," he murmured, "what is that?" She didn't answer at first. Her eyes glowed faintly, trying to read a meaning even she wasn't certain of. Then, "It is a beacon." "A beacon for what? Rescue, trouble, pizza delivery?" Her lips twitched faintly, but didn't form a smile. "No beacon shines of its own will. Something or someone summoned it." Sam stepped closer to the window. "Did the shadow do it?" "No," Myra said. "Something deeper, older. The rift was only a doorway. This is a response." "From who?" Before Myra could reply, the rippled. The swirling light contracted, fast, into a single shimmering pulse that shot toward the ship like a streak of celestial fire. Myra moved instantly. Sam stepped back. The pulse struck the front shields. A booming wave of shimmering force rippled through the bridge. Holograms flickered, panels dimmed, and the ship groaned like it might tear clean in half. Sam staggered. Myra caught him with one arm, bracing them both against the shock. When the light faded, a single floating sphere hovered outside, a sphere of pure silver-white radiance, pulsing like a waiting heartbeat. Sam whispered, "Okay, that's new." Myra's gaze sharpened. "It is a messenger." "Of what?" She didn't turn toward him. "That is what we must discover." The sphere flickered, once, then sent a beam of soft light directly through the glass, forming a circular glyph on the bridge floor. Sam tensed. "What's that mean?" Myra exhaled slowly. "It is asking us to approach." "Us?" Her eyes finally met his. "Yes, Sam, both of us." Sam stared at the glowing circle on the floor. "Let me guess, walking into that could end wonderfully or terribly." Myra nodded. "That is correct." He rubbed the back of his neck. "Fantastic, because clearly today hasn't been dramatic enough." But Myra wasn't smiling. There was a shadow in her eyes, fear, not of the glyph but of what it meant. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Hey, Myra, you can tell me." She blinked softly, then looked at the sphere again. "My people," she said quietly, "do not deploy messengers lightly. They are reminders." "Of what?" "Of the oaths we take, and the consequences when we break them." Sam froze. "Did you break something?" "No," she whispered. "But I changed something." Her gaze flicked toward him, warm, guilty, tender. And Sam understood. "You mean because of me?" "Because I chose you," she said simply. "And my people may not accept that choice." Sam felt something hot and heavy form in his chest. "You think I care about that, Myra?" Before he could finish, the messenger sphere pulsed, sending another ring of light into the bridge. This one didn't demand. It warned. The ship's panels flickered violently. A timer appeared on the main display, counting down from 300 seconds. Sam's voice cracked. 5 minutes until what? Myra's eyes widened. Until the messenger forces boarding. Wait, forces, as in hostile. Not hostile, she said. Unavoidable. Sam stared at the ticking numbers. Myra, if they're coming because of me, I don't want you getting punished for. She grabbed his hand, firm, resolute. And for the first time since the rift appeared, Myra's voice held no hesitation at all. Sam, I chose you knowing the cost. I will not abandon that choice. The countdown hit 240 seconds. The glyph brightened, forming an intricate lattice of light beneath their feet. Sam swallowed hard. We don't have much time. No, Myra said. But we have enough. She stepped into the glyph, pulling him gently along. The messenger sphere flared, sending a soft wind through the bridge, the kind of wind that didn't belong anywhere in space. Myra squeezed his hand. Whatever happens next, she whispered, you stay with me. He nodded, heart pounding. Always. The glyph activated, light shooting upward around them in spiraling arcs. Sam closed his eyes. Myra didn't. She faced the coming light head-on, chin lifted, unafraid. As the universe called her to answer for the choice she made. And for the human she chose.